Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our fourth episode of Money Mindset Matters. I am Eleni Anastos. I am the CEO and founder of Business Insights Now, and we specialize in helping people uncover money blocks to help them grow and learn in ways they never thought possible. And today, we're really going to be talking about money personalities. And of course, the show would not be Money Mindset Matters without my amazing co-host, Szebastian Onne. Szebastian, are you with us?
I'm right here with you. Hey guys. Yes, Money Mindset Matters, episode 4. Wow, time flies. And
Yes.
even though when we have actually changed the format to be it fortnightly, still it just looks like we just started in already at fourth episode.
Yes.
And yes, so guys, if you're tuning in right now, let us know where you're tuning in from. Oh, there you go. Maddie, thank you for tuning in from Clearwater Beach. And Eleni, you are today talking about something very important,
Yes.
and that's about money personalities. And the first question that came to my mind was, what? I have a money personality? It was like, really? How can somebody have a money personality? And Alicia is watching from Maryland live. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you for tuning in. So, Money Mindset Matters. As you know,
Yes.
this show is almost naked conversation with me, and you have been a very phenomenal part of my show, and that's how the Money Mindset Matters started. Um, Before we go into money
Yes.
personalities, I just want to say sometimes it is so frustrating for people like me who are caring, who are emotional, have feelings, and are entrepreneurs. I believe I am a good businessman, and I believe I'm pretty good with, pricing myself right, selling my services accurately, and being fair to my clients
Yes.
and my team and everybody. But my struggle has been, and I was speaking to you earlier, very frustrating struggle that
Yes.
sometimes my caring nature becomes my enemy. My
Yes.
charitable outlook becomes my enemy. And when I was talking to you about this, you said, "Oh, I think your money personality is a nurturer." And
Mhm.
then you got me to do a quiz. Do you want to
Mhm.
tell people about the quiz and why you spoke about the money personality?
Yes. Yes. Well, when we have talked before, and I have learned that how you do money is how you do everything. There's a direct connection. And like any personality, we all have gifts and we all have challenges, but it's the awareness that makes the difference. And learning how you're hardwired for money, learning what your money personality is, it doesn't make you right or wrong. It again, the awareness, because I want people to come from a place of empowerment when they're making decisions. I don't want them to come from a place of fear or stress or anxiety. Because once you learn that money personality, so much is going to make sense. So much falls into place.
Wow. Thank you. I think Diana, live from Vixum, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. Um, it's interesting how you say money personality because, until you told me, I didn't know a phrase like that existed.
Right.
A, a
Right.
person, I know a person's personality, but a
Yes.
money personality is just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, what is a money personality? Like, does money have a personality or do I have a personality related to money?
You have the personality related to money. And just like we use the term nurturer, because I'm a nurturer too, and there are 8 main money personalities, and we usually only focus on the top 3. And I know that both you and I have nurturer in our top 3. So when you think of a
Right.
nurturer, you think of that inner sponsor that just illuminates the caring and the compassion and nurturers, if somebody they care about has a need, they are there to help out. But sometimes it's at the point of their own expense. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about time, energy, emotions. Nurturers tend to give and
Oh,
give and leaving themselves on the back burner. And they could end up feeling disempowered. They could almost feel maybe a little resentment or maybe a little disrespect, when the reality is they've kind of set the stage for them not receiving the respect because there were no boundaries.
wow. I agree with that. And also, thank you, Bash, from Philippines, joining us. She's actually a producer on Dreamaniac TV. So that's a great thing you said. And again, as I said, until you spoke to me about it, I had no idea I had one, let alone knowing that I'm a nurturer and
Right.
accumulator and ruler. I
Yes.
had no clue. And to me, all three of them sound very, very contradictory, but we'll get into that in a
Mm-hmm.
second. Before that, I just want to talk about a scenario around which the entire episode, today is
Yes.
based. So I reached out to you and I
Mm-hmm.
said, you know, I'm a hardworking person and
Mm-hmm.
I do fair for my clients, and I work hard. I focus on everything on delivery, and I I believe I'm very good at boundaries, but I realized something was wrong. No
Mm-hmm.
matter how much I was giving, no matter how much I was doing, somehow a certain set of my clients was never happy. And I questioned that. It was a certain set. It wasn't all the clients. I have been fortunate enough from last 11 years to have clients who are long-term clients, happy clients, really
Yes.
great feedback and everything. But then I realized this certain set, and I'm not mentioning the set because I want to first define to the audience what are we talking about.
Right.
I cared about this set of clients. I
Absolutely.
valued them a little bit differently from other clients. I'm not saying more or less, it just a different angle was there. And I realized
Mhm.
this set only was the part of the problem that I faced, and I somehow, sometimes even faced now. And this set of friends I'm talking about is friends, family, relatives, people who are close to me emotionally. They became my clients,
Mhm.
and somehow everything that works for others, all other clients, did not work for these clients. Always there was an issue, and I reached out to you and I said, well, there's a leak. I can't understand what's going on.
Right.
So, and as you said, the feeling of resentment, I wouldn't say resentment, but yes, stress,
Mm-hmm.
frustration, not knowing how to handle it, and struggling with my caring part, the nurturer part,
Mm-hmm.
not wanting to hurt anyone, and also
Yes.
struggling with not getting the right money, not being able to follow the processes. So, first of all, there's a point that I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow I judged myself, and this judgment
Mm-hmm.
was very, very negative. I was performing well with all clients, but when it came to these clients, my judgment of myself was negative. I was always beating myself up for it's my fault. I'm doing
Yes.
something wrong. So when it comes to money, why this self judgment happens, and how do I free myself from this negative judgment, especially when it comes to friends and relatives who
Yes.
are involved.
Yes. Well, there's still a lot of shame and guilt connected to money that we've talked about last week and will continue to talk about because it's real. It's been there forever. And I think the guilt part definitely for those of us that are strong nurturers comes in because you feel like you are the nurturing one, that you absolutely, I should take care of them. I know I can care for them. It'll be all right. But at what cost? At what expense? And when I use the term resentment, I think it's something that can build up because if you don't have the boundaries and you keep giving and giving because you care, it all started because you care. But when you don't set the boundaries and that person keeps coming back or has more needs, more issues, and it's literally costing you money and costing your time and costing your energy, when that phone rings or that message comes in and it's from that person again, I mean, eventually you're going to start wishing that it wasn't them. You're going to start resenting. And my concern is without boundaries, you may end up deteriorating that relationship altogether, because boundaries are meant to benefit both sides, both people.
Right. Right. And I just want to just for a second remind people, I can see a lot of people are watching right now. So guys, if you're watching on any of our more than 50 pages now, please come to facebook.com/Dreamaniac TV. That's where we can see what you're saying to us, what your reactions are, and we can include your interaction into our conversation. And I just want to very, very quickly acknowledge some of the comments before we continue. So Providence said money matters, absolutely, and Alicia said close friends and business is a tricky situation. Oh, so true. And I have to say, Alicia and I have had our own learning process, but we have managed it so well. And it's amazing that with some people you manage it, and with some people it's so difficult. One is a friend as well, and the second one is friend as well. And then Diana said, great show. And Alicia is just continuing, we can end up disappointing people or situation. And Lionell is tuned in from Philippines as well. And I'll acknowledge some other comments in a second, guys. I just want to continue with your conversation, the boundary you're talking about, Eleni. Why is it so hard to manage this boundary with your friends? Why is it so difficult? And who is responsible for breaking these boundaries?
Well, I think the difficulty without question comes in because people fear something happening to the relationship. Like, I have to give you this, I have to do this, or something might happen to the friendship. And it doesn't mean anybody ever even said that. Like, one of your friends who's become a client could say, well, I would have paid you more. You're the one that chose to give me that deal, or, some type of a scenario like that.
Right.
Often it's all in our head. So I definitely think people just need to be upfront. Because for me, you and I have become very dear friends. But if there was something that comes up in terms of money and I didn't talk to you about it, then I think that would naturally erode at the friendship. And I would not want that to happen. So those of us that are nurturers out there, please don't be afraid to have that courageous conversation where your intention is to honor the relationship. You want that to keep going, but you also have to honor yourself in the process and install some boundaries.
Right. And Alicia just mentioned, drama triangle. Of course, the money situation, friendship, money, all these fears and self-judgment, and it can become a drama triangle. And Diana said, unfortunately, true. When it comes to friendship and business. And let's see. And Anna Maria, I believe, sorry if I'm saying it wrong, says boundaries are so important for self-preservation and to preserve the relationship. I completely agree, Eleni. There you go. And Providence says being upfront is so very important. I cannot, agree more. I think that's where my challenge has been, Eleni. And I guess you know that. My biggest challenge always has been being upfront, just telling them how it is, especially when it comes to friendship. But, here's another thing. And I want to mention a scenario. I was speaking to this friend who became a client, and we were discussing, payments. We were discussing pricing. And suddenly a figure came out of my mouth. But instantly I knew I gave a very wrong figure. It's not even my cost. But I never corrected myself. And I signed the contract with that figure. And then I always struggle because the scope of the project really doesn't allow for, that money doesn't fulfill that scope of the project. And some kind of my decision making became very confusing. And this is where you talk to me about, making a decision from a place of empowerment, not fear.
Yes.
And you saw me, I was frustrated, I was
Mhm.
confused. So how do you make a decision from the place? Like, first thing is, how do I recognize that I'm making a decision from a place of fear when it's just
Yes.
afraid? Why should I be afraid?
Well, because I so appreciate, first of all, your candor, your vulnerability, when you talked about knowing that, like the voice in the back of your head already was saying, no, this isn't right. That, going with your gut, not being afraid to be honest. And to me, it speaks to when I see the fear is when people don't have that conversation about money. So they're either fearing that person is not going to agree with them. They could be fearing that person, that it's going to deteriorate the relationship somehow. So you've got to have that conversation about the money.
Right. And Alicia is just saying, hashtag courageous conversations.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You've got to have them. And this is almost naked conversation. So I'm going to be open about it. When
Me
I
too.
came to, you know, when I spoke to you, one of the things you pointed out, of course, at that moment, it hurt. It made me even shocked. And you said, because you are trying to be a people pleaser. And I have always believed in my life that I am not one. But when you said that, my first reaction was denial. My first reaction was like, no, that's not who I am. I am so direct. I am blamed for being too blunt, too,
Mhm.
too direct. And but somehow after you and my conversation, it made sense, and it actually changed how I feel and how I act. So how does people pleasing, come into being when it comes to business? Business is about giving money, getting services, taking money, giving services. So how
Mhm.
come people pleasing comes into the picture there?
Yes, no, that's a great question. In the end of the day, business is business, friendship is friendship. I do believe you can mix them in a healthy way, but that's by being honest up front. Because the reality is, if you never have a profit, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. So if you keep doing things, giving things away, without having any kind of boundaries, you end up losing business, right? And that's going to impact you not just financially, emotionally, spiritually, every other way. So I see that, that being intertwined. But even if you've made that decision, like you gave this previous friend that amount, and right away you said, "Oh, I knew that wasn't the right thing to do," but you let it
Yeah.
continue because you said it, and I know that you want to honor your word, which completely respect.
Hmm.
But if it continues to snowball and the issues keep building, I think at any point in time, you can still have that courageous conversation and say, it's because to me, it's always the intention. I'm having this conversation with you because my intention is to have a relationship going forward, is to have a healthy, positive interaction. And for me to
Right.
do that, we need to have some boundaries. So you can honor what you set up in the past because, you chose to do it, but
Hmm.
going forward, put the boundaries in place.
Right. And that is so true, because when we have that conversation, you and I had that conversation, and guys, you have to know, Eleni is an amazing coach. Literally a reality check when it comes to business mindset. Um, you gave me some feedback, you gave me some strategies, and it helped me. It helped me
Mhm.
reach out to my clients and go, I'm talking about specifically clients who are friends or relatives, and tell them, look, I honor you, I respect you. That's why it's more important that we
Absolutely.
do have this talk.
Yes.
And and that having that conversation changed, things. Dynamic is more positive. Things are better. There is room for improvement, but things are better. So when you come from that place of empowerment, when you feel
Yes.
empowered, you've had the honest conversation. You've told them what your intent is. You have clarified and you have cleared the negative part. It just changes how you perform. The service is improved, the results improved, the interactions improved. Everything just
Yes.
became so much easier, and the same project now started to look fun rather than a burden, rather than stress, right? So, but
Yes.
there's one thing I have to ask. Somehow, I believe, so, you mentioned people pleaser, you mentioned other things about the conversation we had, the nurturer personality, and I do want to get into personalities very soon as well, but I
Mhm.
do have a question before that. Um, Somehow, all this happens, especially when it comes to boundaries.
Mhm.
Somehow, we are trying to sabotage ourselves, not
Mhm.
intentionally, but we are sabotaging.
Right.
Can you educate people a little bit about what is this unconscious sabotaging happening? What is that behavior, and how do we recognize that behavior?
Well, the self-sabotage usually comes along when you've made an important decision or when you want to grow, the irony of it, because our subconscious mind is designed to keep us exactly the same. And in the subconscious mind's defense, all it knows is keeping us the same is keeping us safe. So truly our inner thoughts are meant to keep us safe. So if you're about to make a change, like install new boundaries, especially with friends in your business, so that you're still making money while delivering a great product and service, your subconscious mind is, oh no, 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 we're going to stay the same. We're going to throw roadblocks. We're going to mess with your head. And
Yes,
that's when self-sabotaging comes in.
right. And that self-sabotage actually creates so much hassle, so much. I even want to use the word trauma because you're trying to just serve, but instead you're constantly
Yes.
fighting a battle. You're in a battle zone.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
constantly just again, you're fighting against a wall that's not going to fall, and you're hurting only yourself. You're just
Right.
hurting your,
Right.
causing damage to yourself. No results are changing because the target and the focus and what you need to do is still not happening because of your own
Yes.
self-sabotaging
Yes.
behavior.
Yes.
Speaking of which, for a second, I want to go into the money personalities because
Mhm.
I want people to understand what the money personalities are. And let's begin with the nurturer because you and I share that in common. So, who is a nurturer?
Yes. Again, the nurture is that inner sponsor that illuminates the caring and the compassion, nurtures innately. I see somebody that has a need, I am there to help. And
Mhm,
nurturers tend to be very good at saving money, which
mhm.
often, though, helps them default into being a bank when others have a need. So they're good at
Right,
saving money, they're good at accumulating it. So they have it. They're the ones the others lean on. They will help them out. And in the meantime, though, that's when it still starts to build up that, well, wait a minute. I keep giving and giving and giving, and they're taking. And nurturers tend to go too far to the extreme where they no longer have enough to give to themselves, personally, professionally, emotionally. And that's when the issues come up. Like you see that friend's name on Messenger or you see the caller ID and you're like, oh, it's a slippery slope to not have those boundaries. Because if you install the boundaries, I see boundaries helping things to flow. When you
right.
don't have boundaries, you end up with roadblocks that stop the flow. Does that make sense?
And absolutely, it's interesting you say that because you just right now mentioned you see the message or you see the caller ID, and I
Yes.
think that's really the nurturer. It's not negative to be a nurturer, but I do
No.
see the struggle, and I think you make a statement very often that uh, how you do money is how you do
I do
everything
everything.
you know
Yes.
and I am going to that statement because I'm just thinking I would be sitting doing something or I'm relaxing on the weekend and I see a message from the client on Facebook Messenger and I need to reply. I just need to reply. You know,
Yes.
it's I'm going to the same boundary that you're talking about. I have to reply. And I know I'm
Yes.
talking in present tense. I am
Yes.
not somebody who does that, but that was me. I need to reply.
Yes.
Right. And what happens then in the result is I break a boundary. I respond to them during my day off, and then they expect a response always. They respond, expect a service always. And just before we continue, I just want to, I know my producer is a little bit confused. They are in the back end, so they don't know how, they haven't experienced this side of thing. Bash, we can see
Okay.
each other fine. It's all good. Nothing is wrong. We're both in the show. So, um, um, you know, that's Facebook Messenger, that just any instant messenger, not having that boundary literally explains my business practices that have been.
Hmm.
And the problem that caused, and that is again coming from that nurture point, I had to help them. I had to
Right.
be there for
Right.
them, And the result was not what I intended to be. It became a stress. Next time I
Yes.
saw their name, it
Yes.
was like, oh my God. And
Right.
I'm
And that.
trying to reply, you know. I ended up uninstalling Messenger because I just couldn't stop myself until I learned to have that boundary that I could have everything installed, but I'm going to decide when I respond to you.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Let things flow. And I know another personality that you and I share is the accumulator. And the
Yeah.
accumulator is that inner banker that just illuminates, respect and appreciation. And accumulators have a very tight-knit, close relationship with money, which on the outside looks like a match made in heaven. Being an inner banker, I am such a
Yeah.
strong accumulator. That's my number one money personality.
Right.
But sometimes accumulators, because we're so tightly controlled with money, we can sometimes go into a scarcity mindset thinking that there's never going to be enough to go around, despite
Right.
having resources available, despite having, income coming in. And spending even small amounts of money can cause anxiety and stress. So for those of us that are strong accumulators, it's really important to find the balance, to kind of release a little bit of that tightness with money, because realizing that sometimes investing is what helps you grow. It helps you expand your life professionally and personally. And before, I have to share this story because it's so true. I almost wish there was a video of it. When I decided that I want to become a coach and I was going to do everything right, wanted to get, full certifications, you name it, even though I was already well educated. And I remember walking up to a desk to sign up for a $12,000 group coaching program to get my first certification. And as an accumulator, to put $12,000 on a credit card at one time, I walked
Mhm.
up to the desk and I didn't even break stride. I just walked away going, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Took some deep breaths. I walked up the second time. This time I let the clerk touch the card, but not even the jaws of life could have pried that out of my hands. I walked away again and I just started breathing, going, come on, Eleni, what are you saying to yourself? And then
Yeah.
I started talking out loud, going, if I don't invest, see, I was seeing cost, not investment. If I don't invest in myself, then I don't believe in myself. And when I said
Right.
that out loud, I'm like, oh, hell no. Went up the third time, let go of my credit card. She processed it. Now I admit I threw up a little in my mouth. I admit
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
But I put it all on there and I ended up paying it off in a few months.
Yeah.
And now that I know that I'm an accumulator, I've invested in myself over and over since then, but I don't throw up in my mouth anymore.
Right. And look, that's exactly why we call this show Money Mindset Matters. Understanding your money mindset is exactly, where the solution for your
Yes.
struggle and sorry, solution for your struggle comes out. And again, once again, I just want to remind people, if you're just tuning in right now, you're watching Money Mindset Matters, the Brand Ambassador series on Almost Naked Conversation with Szebastian, and that is me on Dreamaniac TV. Please come to facebook.com/Dreamaniac
Yes.
TV so we can see what you're saying to us. We can include your conversation in
Yes.
this episode. And one thing I do want to say before we go on, uh, sorry, Eleni, we have also planned that until the next episode, any questions people have, they can
Yes.
just put, send us an email at tv@dreamaniac.com. Send us all your
Mhm.
questions, and we might go on a few impromptu lives and answer your questions
Yes.
during our lives. And before doing that, if we know who you are, we will email you. We will try to alert you that we're going live and answering your question. So keep an eye, guys.
Yes.
Send us an email at tv@dreamaniac.com. Send us your question. Tell us what's bugging you. Tell us what is your money challenge. Why are you not having a healthy relationship with money? And Eleni and I are going to help you with that. We'll go on a conversation on
Yes.
impromptu lives and 5 minutes quick sessions so that you guys can learn a little bit more and we can help you more. And you will find all these videos on
Yes.
Eleni and my personal Facebooks as well as on our business
Mhm.
pages as well. So,
Yes.
speaking of personalities, we have spoken about nurture. We mentioned accumulator, but you
Yes.
said I'm also a ruler. That confused me. I'm a nurturer and a ruler. I mean, it kind of sounds like narcissistic. So, how do these three work together? How can I use these three personalities to my advantage?
Well, as a ruler, that's your inner empire builder that just illuminates, that desire to achieve. And look at you. You're a CEO. You've had more than one business. You have amazing team members in multiple countries. So of course you are a ruler. Along with that, though, as you can see how the nurturer comes in, especially when friends have become clients in that scenario, and the accumulator being tightly controlled with money. We've had multiple conversations where you could give it to me almost to the penny. This is what this
Yes.
cost me. This is what that cost me. So you are a combination of all three, but it's understanding, they all have, again, those gifts and they all have those challenges. And it's about that awareness so the three can work together to really pull you forward in an empowered way.
Right. And but those are just my personalities.
Mhm.
Let's talk about other personalities that are
Yes.
out there. So what are other five personalities? Can we talk about them a little bit?
Another one is a connector, and the connector is that inner relationship creator that just illuminates faith and optimism. And a connector just really always feels that the money will be there. They don't necessarily know how because they don't worry about it. So they're not attached to having that in the bank because they just assume because they have the faith and optimism, it's going to be okay. Now, on one hand, that's fabulous. They're not stressed, they're not freaking out. But on the other hand, connectors can sometimes be too trusting in allowing others to handle their own financial details. And on the outside, again, they're the faithful ones, the optimistic ones, but sometimes deep inside, they could be harboring some feelings of disempowerment because they've basically given all their power away regarding
Right.
money.
Right.
So,
It's amazing you said that because I was just watching another YouTuber, Owen Hamseth, and
mhm,
he actually did a recent live about talking about saying, it's great to delegate and everything, but how much do you want to delegate? How much control do you want to give? And do you really want to give away everything? And
right.
what, especially when you're working with remote teams and all that, how much are you ready to trust? And I think indirectly what he was asking is what your money personality is. I don't know if he
Mhm,
knows this, but I think this is the question he's asking. Like, are you a
yeah,
connector? But to what extent? Um,
right.
and what's the next personality?
Another personality is a maverick, and the maverick is an inner rebel with a cause. And the mavericks illuminate that risk is essential, and
Right.
they're very comfortable with complex money transactions. They kind of look at money as it's a game, and it's a game I'm going to win. And again, on one hand, they're not afraid to put themselves out there. It's great. But then because of their strong willingness to take a risk, sometimes they could end up with financial issues. They can be down, but when they're down, they don't stay down too long.
Right. Um, and can a maverick? I'm just saying, can a maverick in somehow really self-sabotage themselves if they don't watch themselves?
Right. So the maverick has to find the balance with the risk. We all have to be willing to take risk. I believe that
Right.
100%. Life is nothing
Right.
without risk, but it's finding that balance. And I really quickly want to say, there again, there are 8 different personalities, but there truly is no one personality that's better than another at having a successful business, having a successful life, attracting abundance into your world. There really isn't one that's better than another. I mean, I had someone take the assessment. They're like, well, I want to take it again so I can get different results. I'm like, that's not how it works. But again, it's
Right.
the awareness. I want us to champion our gifts and be able to circumvent those challenges.
Right. And, I just wanted to touch a little bit on this, and I hope we do have a little bit of time. You also spoke about a few tips to, a few tips to improve your relationship with money. Can we quickly go through those tips? Can you share some of those tips with our audience?
Yes, yes. Well, honestly, one of them is to understand how you're hardwired. Learn what your money personality is. And you can do
Right.
that through a simple assessment. Reach out to me. It would take you maybe 10 to 15 minutes to take this assessment. The good news is you can't study and you can't fail. So
Right.
learning what your money personality is, but then also I ask people to what I call track and date their money. And tracking, you could just use a notebook. Every day you track the amount of money that comes in. Again, that comes in, because that's what you want to focus on. Even on
Right.
days when it's 0, don't be afraid to put that 0 down. Because if
Yep.
you're not afraid, that's putting you in control, putting you in the driver's seat.
Right.
And dating your money is at least once every 2 weeks, maybe once a week. Look at all your accounts. I'm not talking about spending hours. I'm talking about a couple of minutes with each account. Look
Right.
at it, because I've said before, when I talk to people that, I mean, if you want a rich and rewarding relationship with your spouse, with your kids, with your friends, with your clients, you have to pay attention to them, right? So how can
Absolutely.
you expect to have a rich and rewarding relationship with money if you don't pay attention
If you
to it?
don't, exactly. And you speak about, pardon me, knowing your bottom line and raising your standards. Um,
Yes,
please
that's huge.
elaborate.
That's huge. Most of us say that my monthly bills are $4,000 a month, between mortgage, car, insurance, whatever the cost is. If that your mindset is, okay, I just need to make ends meet, I just need to cover my bills, then that's all you're going to do. That's
Yeah.
all that's ever going to happen. So you've actually kind of lowered your standards to meet that financial line. Instead,
Mhm.
if you raise your standards, like, maybe 5%, maybe 10%, the amount doesn't matter. You could say,
Right.
this month I'm going to bring in 4,100. I don't care what
Right.
the increment is. You just
Yep.
need to raise it, because once you raise your standards, then your mind focuses on, how do I elevate that financial line?
Right. You set a new goal and you aim for higher things and
Yes.
you aim for a better life overall as well. So obviously
Yes.
that is very crucial. I do want to talk about, I know we're running out of time very soon, but when someone you care about, we started this episode talking about boundaries, friendship, business together. But when someone you care about is pushing your money boundary, what do you do? And what to say, when to say it, how to say it, so that that boundary can be restored? What can we do?
One of my mentors learned, I think it was from one of her mentors, and said, an ounce of pre-frame is worth a pound of reframe. So if you
Right.
start the conversation by saying, I'm talking to you now because I care, because I love you, because I want us to have a healthy relationship going forward. That's why you need to have the boundaries where money is concerned. Because
Right.
otherwise, if you just say, look, we need to do this and this and this, and it doesn't matter. They don't think that you really care, that you're only speaking about dollars and cents. then I think that helps to put a bigger divide between you. But initiate the conversation with, it's because you care and you want it to be close and successful going forward.
Right. And I think that also really makes it easy then to, in future, as you move forward, to be able to say anything or share
Yes.
any costs, any boundaries without any hesitation, because you've already established a healthy relationship now with your
Yes.
money and with your friendship, with the person you care for. But we've got to wrap up real soon. I just want to ask, before we wrap up, first of all, how can people contact you if they are going through the struggles that I have mentioned to you and I have come to you for and I have sought help with? And do you only help the women entrepreneurs, or do you help just anybody?
No. First, I'd be most happy to have a conversation with anybody. You can email me at Eleni at Business Insights Now. Business Insights Now is also on Facebook. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and you can find me on LinkedIn also. And I definitely work with men and women and couples, business owners. It's not targeted. And I'm passionate about the money work, as you know, because it impacts all of us. It impacts
Oh,
all of us
absolutely.
on a daily basis. And I don't want to see people continuing to struggle. I want people to feel empowered where money is concerned.
Oh, absolutely. Because, as much as we deny, there's nothing we do in each and every day of life that doesn't involve money. And,
Right.
if you do it right, you can have a great money mindset. You can have
Yeah.
a great relationship with your own life as well, not just money, with your own life, because you are just in the clear. And I just wanted to also remind people, this conversation is going to go on, for a while. And if you just want to get in touch with Eleni, and if you could not catch all those contact details, don't worry. Simply go to Dreamaniac.com/Eleni. All her contact details are there, how to contact her, what services she provides. And she has
Yes.
been on several shows of Dreamaniac. She is, in fact, the Dreamaniac TV's brand ambassador. So you can find a whole lot of knowledge, whole lot of empowerment on her page itself. So please go to Dreamaniac.com/Eleni. So Eleni, this has been great. The time flies so fast.
Yes.
But yes, I wanted to remind people that if you have any questions, please send it to tv@romaniac.com, and
Yes.
Eleni and I will get back to you, and we will actually include those in some impromptu live sessions we'll do on our own personal pages and business pages, and we'll help you out there as well. And just a little announcement that you and I discussed a few days ago. Uh, we're going to have a special Almost Naked Conversation episode in which I'm bearing it all. And you are literally digging deep with me and going really deep in getting it all out in public. So we're going to discuss that soon, guys. Keep an eye, watch the space for finding out when that special episode is coming out. You'll find all that information on Dreamaniac.com. You can also go to businessinsightsnow.com or Business Insights Now on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, or you can go to Szebastian.com or Sebastianonne.com and find all this information in coming days.
And
So,
real quick, if I may interject, if anyone is really curious about their money personality, you can take the assessment on my website. It's called Crack Your Money Code. And again, it would take you maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Just please answer the questions from your gut. Don't overthink it. And I would be happy to discuss the results with you.
I just thought I'll just put that in the crawler so people can actually see. So the website, they can go to businessinsightsnow.com. Just remove the spaces, guys. Go to businessinsightsnow.com, and
Yes.
there's a link for Crack Your Money Code. Do the assessment. Trust me, I did it. I'm glad I did. So you're going to love the results. You're going to love what you learned from that. So this has been great. Again, it looks like I need more time, but we don't have enough time. So thank you so much, Eleni, once again.
You.
And we will be back in a fortnight with another episode of Money Mindset Matters and help people. So before we go, once again, guys, email us at tv@romaniac.com. Send us any questions you have,
Yes.
and look out for our impromptu lives on Eleni's page, my page, both business and personal profiles. So until
Yes.
then, I would just say, honor, love, and inspire yourself from within to dream
Yes.
big and make it happen.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us.
See you guys.
Bye.